Well, it's giving me something to share on my own Instagram account, which I wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah.
There's so many pictures of wood piles you can put on.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
And kindling and twigs all beautifully arranged in neat piles.
And pine cones, which the next door neighbour came round to offer you in a bucket.
Oh, lovely. I just opened the door and there was a bag of pine cones. Fantastic.
I mean, who has got time to collect pine cones and then take them around and offer them to their neighbours?
Well,
Extraordinary. It's a different reality, that's what it is.
Well, it's a lot of people who are retired out here. And
yes, it's a desperate supporter who wants to talk to another human being, isn't
it? Possibly.
I would never dream of knocking on somebody's door with a bucket load of anything. But I think it's very sweet. Very sweet. And also it threw up a question, which was, they don't burn in stoves, but they burn in fires. So that doesn't make any sense at all, does it?
No, they don't burn in closed wood stoves, apparently.
That's what I'm saying. They don't burn in those, but they do burn in yours. You'd think fire was fire, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, apparently there's different types of fires.
Oh, we're learning.
I will be an expert, you know.
Yes.
I'll be able to go on the island and get that fire cracking.
I'm very worried about the proximity of the curtains where you live to the fireplace, with you two in charge of it. Be careful. I don't want it to go woof.
Welcome to Own It, Your Business and Your Life, with Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. In this podcast, we're going to cover everything you need to embrace to become a successful entrepreneur, marketing, money, and much, much more. How to create a business doing just what you love. How to own it, your business and your life. This one will be fast, funny, feisty, and very lively. So sit back and enjoy the show.
It's a brand new day. Gotta take it on my way.
Here she comes.
No, I've been here since. I've been here for 8 minutes. Here you come. You do that every week. It's very annoying. It's one of your most annoying traits.
I'm so sorry. I'm sure there's a great long list of them.
No. Not at all. That one is annoying.
I realised I was on my balcony and I had to move indoors very quickly, otherwise I'd be bellowing across the entire of the Marnie Peninsula. Girls travel very much here. It's quite astonishing, really.
It's one of the things I've anticipated, actually, because I spend a lot of my life shouting into my computer, and I've realised that I wouldn't necessarily want to do that if I were in a sunny al fresco location.
Yeah, so all I do is move inside and use my microphone and sit quite close to it, so that even though, you know, I can hear you and everything, I'm not travelling hopefully as much across the entire place.
Yeah, well, don't forget, I don't just do it for the podcast, I do it all day long with my clients as well.
Of course, yeah. Of course. So how's your week been?
Well, it's been, today, let me put this in context. Today, for you and me, is the 23rd of November. By the time our clients listen to this, it'll be the 2nd of December. So it'll be slightly less bizarre by the 2nd of December than it is today. I've had a week anticipating December because, you know, I don't work in December.
Oh, yeah.
And we've only got 30 days left of this year anyway. In fact, what is it today? 23rd. It's only a month till Christmas Day. Not that I give a damn about that. But anyway, there's not much of 2016 left is the point. So I did some, it's the end of my year. Who's leaving, who's carrying over time to 2017, who's renewing. I did some accounts, I did some filing, I did some appointment scheduling. I worked out how I was going to fit in the 7 people who are entitled to a one-to-one in December. And they can't book it online, so I have to take my online diary offline so that it can't fill up with strangers trying to cram themselves in before Christmas.
Yeah.
And I feel quite fired up, as I always do after a nice tidy up anyway. But I think we both agreed that 2016 has been a difficult year that we won't be unhappy to put behind us in many different ways. And so thinking ahead, and I'm writing my newsletter, I'm halfway through writing my newsletter about this week as well, thinking ahead to next year, I'm ready.
I'm ready. Bring it on.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm already in. I'm anticipating 2017, not December and 2017.
Yeah. Oh well, I've got some similar kinds of news, but I'll save that for project updates.
Okay.
This week, the big news is I've been granted a Katerina's loyalty card.
Ooh.
You can imagine my excitement, Judith. She just went over and said, "Are you staying here for a while?" I said, "Yes." She said, "You'll need one of these then." And she just gave it to me. It was so exciting. Sarah wasn't there. I came home and I said, "You'll never guess what." Because it is my new favourite place, obviously, as I said.
There's nowhere else, is there, Nicola?
Well, no, there isn't actually, but it's lucky it's so good. That's the best thing about it.
Yes.
So, Katerina's loyalty card, I think I might have to take a picture of it and share it with the group.
I do think that is quite good fun, actually.
Yeah, it is. I mean, well, I want to talk a bit more about, I'll talk a bit more about that.
What does it entitle you to?
Sorry?
What does it entitle you to?
Well, I didn't really understand because obviously I got a leaflet and it's all in Greek. But it seems to be something along the lines of you spend X amount and you get €8 to spend in Katerina, free to spend in Katerina's.
Okay.
No, it's a very much a closed circle, as
Yes. But that's okay. That's what loyalty cards are.
Exactly.
You get the car washed or your hair washed for free after every 6 goes or something.
Yeah, exactly. And me and the man on the meat counter have got our methods of communication nailed now.
Right.
I walk up and I point and I go Stifado, and he gives me stewing steak because he doesn't speak any English, I don't speak any Greek, so I thought it was the easiest way to let him know what kind of meat I wanted.
Right.
And ditto on the cheese counter, I just point, and it's just really funny. I might not actually bother to learn Greek now, I might just point.
Well, you could learn certain meat words and cheese words.
Yes. So the other funny thing that's happened this week was we were having this conversation last night. We've got this family chat thing going on Messenger, and everyone's in it. And we were having this family chat because Spud, my nephew, has got this lovely job through his uncle. And he was in Amsterdam last night in a very, very, very posh steakhouse where they sell things like, Wagyu beef. And we were having this conversation because he had €100 budget for his main course. And he couldn't get the Wagyu beef for that because it was like €200 for a bit of Wagyu beef. And we were talking about what Wagyu beef is, and Heather piped up, and she was on a train from Antwerp to Brussels. So Spencer's in Amsterdam, we're in Greece, and Heather's on a train from Antwerp to Brussels. She was going, basically it's where they massage the meat, the cows, while they're still alive to distribute the fat evenly. And that just brings up so many weird pictures in your mind, doesn't it? But
I think any vegetarians listening would have turned off immediately.
I know. And then Alex piped up from Sydney, Australia. He'd just been for his walk and he posted a picture of his walk. And then Irving piped up to say that in Shoreham they were having slow-cooked chicken for dinner. So
Nice.
It really was a very international family chat last night. Very funny. Very funny. But it's nice to be able to keep in touch with people. There's something very immediate about a family chat or a group chat like that. It just makes you feel really connected to people. Everyone puts in silly things, so it's the silly things really that you miss not participating in when you're with someone, because you have these sort of Skype calls and they're all very formal in a way, but the family chat is anything but formal.
Yeah.
So what's fueled your fire this week then?
I've done 2 of my Entrepreneur of the Day calls this week. One with a lady in Philadelphia who I think may be a listener, and one with a lady in the UK who may also be a listener for all I know. I'm not sure. I do love meeting new people without leaving home, and I've realised while I was waiting to talk to you that they're both called Gillian. One Gillian with a G and one Gillian with a J, which is quite fascinating. But talking to the one in Philadelphia was particularly interesting because she's a Brit who's lived there for 20 years, contemplating coming back to the UK because life's moved on in those 20 years. Not an easy transition to make, not least because Philadelphia, which is a wonderful city that I've been to about 3 times and would go to again in the drop of a hat because it's so nice. It's interesting because we think the Americans have recovered from the great global crash faster than us.
Yeah.
But actually her house has never made back what she lost. or hasn't gone back to, hasn't. So moving for her is harder than you might think.
Yeah.
Because she hasn't got as much asset value in her house to bring and start again in the UK, which is anyway more expensive. But an interesting conversation about, in that case, I would probably keep it. Probably, I don't know, it's difficult. But I've met 2 new Gillians.
Hang on, tell me that last bit again. I would probably what?
I would probably keep it, I think. If there's no value in selling it, I would probably keep it.
Yeah. And they've got so much more aggressive buying techniques over there, and flexible buying techniques, haven't they? That you can, if you're a seller who's motivated to sell, there's so many different ways that people will drum you into the ground on the value as well.
Yeah, I think it was interesting to hear it because it's a city I know reasonably well, having visited there and visited to stay in a house with people who bought a house there while they were living there. So I know, a little bit more than I perhaps do about property in any other city in America. And I was disappointed. I know they've recovered better than we have, but I was disappointed that their property market, even in a great city like that, appears not to have done. And of course, there are exceptions to that. And I'm sure we have American listeners who will say, I'm living somewhere else and it's not like that. I don't know if you remember Diane Purdy.
I do.
She is now a realtor in Florida. And gone back to something I think she never intended to do, and seems to be doing pretty well at it. And they live on one of these developments, which is for people in their 50s and above, which used to seem old, but doesn't seem old anymore, and has all sorts of preferential things involved in. I still wouldn't want to live in one of those, but hurrah for those that do. And she seems to have a brisk market in property in that little bubble in Florida. So I don't know. America, you can't, even in England, which is a tiny dot by comparison to America, you can't draw any assumptions from city to city about the property market. So I'm sure you can't in America either.
No. Philadelphia is one of those cities you sort of don't know much about, really. I mean, it was a working city, I know. It's not like a financial centre or a holiday destination or whatever. But, there must be areas that are the demand's higher than others. But they've got this huge amounts of space out there, haven't they? So they can...
They have. Philadelphia is a capital city, a very walkable city, university city, a bit like Oxford and Cambridge. Well set out. She told me, Gillian, it was set out by a Brit. So very walkable. Although I think all American cities are very walkable, actually, although they don't walk much in America. But it's got a very nice feel when you're there. I think she thought she was in a bit that was perhaps less desirable, like we all do. We buy in affordable bits. But it is, it's where the Liberty Bell is. It's quite a historic city, to do with the founding fathers and everything.
Yeah.
And again, another city where they routed the Brits, so not a great place to be a Brit when you go on one of those open-top bus tours. Like Boston. You keep your mouth shut in Boston because it's all about routing the Brits there. Yeah. Anyway, geography lesson there. Tell me what's fueled your fire.
Well, something's both fueled my fire and dampened it, which is interesting. So I'll do the dampened bit first and then become more upbeat. I've been running since I've been trying to think who my new market is and who my brand hero is, and I've now decided it's 45 plus aspiring internet marketers stroke digital nomads. I've been running a deep dive survey, Ryan Levesque style, from Facebook ads, and it's really incredibly successful, this campaign I've been running. I've been getting new leads. Just as a tip for anyone, if you're running a survey, take them to an opt-in page first. In fact, I believe in that for everything. Getting that micro commitment out of people means your survey converts much better. I tried sending the traffic straight to the survey and it just didn't convert at all because it's cold traffic to a survey asking, intrusive questions like, what's your name?
What do you say on the opt-in page that comes before the survey that tempts them to opt in?
Nothing. Just basically, I just reiterate the free gift offer and say, put your name in, email here, and we'll jump you straight to the survey.
So they're going to get a free gift for completing the survey.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But they, it's just that putting that opt-in in first. It works for webinar registrations as well. Getting that mini commitment just seems to really increase your conversions to people who actually take the action. And I've got 5 questions in my survey, and I'm getting fantastically cheap traffic. It's not fantastic cheap. It's not 10p or 50p. It's about 50p to £1 for a click, which is, cheap traffic. And it's going to the opt-in, and that's converting at about 60%, which is very high. And then the people who then could go on to do the survey is about 80 to 85%, which is, again, very high. So I'm not losing many people in the process. And the reason it depressed me a little bit is because I've been running it not to internet marketers. I've been running it to people, like working women, people like Marie Forleo, people who like other gurus and interest groups and things. And I went with women because that was converting so much better than men, even though I was running it to both equally initially. And I've been doing it just really to find out, outside the internet marketing world, what do people need? And it was a little bit depressing, so I was compiling the results today for us to put into our ideas for future episodes. And it was just all the same challenges, Judith, and I suppose that I shouldn't have been surprised at that, because the challenges that people face are eternal, because nobody ever teaches this stuff at school. And I sort of got a little bit down, I suppose, just reading the responses, because so many people had such, sob stories, I suppose. And so I was a little bit after that, thinking, oh my God, how's it? In some ways, I should have been grateful, because it means there's never-ending evergreen market for business coaching. But in some ways, it was quite depressing. But then I got over myself, and I thought, okay, so that does mean that there's a huge market out there of people who still need helping. And that, somehow when I started to think about how I could help them, it perked me up and got me going again. So it did fuel my fire, but it was just a little bit depressing at the beginning. Especially as 50% of the responses were money, except they weren't about money at all. They were about attitudes and limiting beliefs and motivation and lack of business knowledge or marketing knowledge. They weren't really about money at all, but it just seemed that everybody felt that money was their problem, whereas actually money wasn't their problem at all.
Yeah.
So there's something to discuss on a future episode, perhaps. Would you like to hear about 18 proven ways to enjoy a successful location-independent business and the freedom to live wherever you like? Own It the Summit is a pack of 18 dynamite interview recordings with globally successful entrepreneurs, sharing their secrets of the real laptop lifestyle. We handpicked each of these people to interview to show you how to set yourself free to design your ideal lifestyle, whether working from home or travelling the world, while running a successful virtual business that you absolutely love. If you're bored sick of working for someone else, trading time for money, or of being a business owner living in one place, sick of the terrible weather and desperate to travel and have adventures, Own It the Summit is for you. These 18 global entrepreneurs share their stories. You can listen and enjoy their tales of where they started, how they founded and grew their businesses, the tools and techniques they use to work on the go, and what living and working in total virtual freedom really looks and feels like. By the time you've listened to these dynamite interviews, you'll be so inspired that you'll want to set up your own virtual business and be researching how to live and work on the go. But Judith and I pulled out all the stops to find people we both know to be living an exceptional life, running exceptional businesses. Participating in this summit was directly responsible for me deciding to up sticks and go and live in Greece. And Judith was already in preparation to go and live in the Caribbean. With that in mind, you can imagine we drilled down to the nitty-gritty answers to the questions you might have about living and working abroad. After the event, testimonials poured in, and everyone seemed to find something different in each speaker to really enjoy. Just one of the testimonials read, "I've never been online that long, 2 days in a row, my new record for studying online." That was Eve. Claire said it was great content. Her family was getting cross with her huddled in her study. So great to be reminded of all the supportive tools out there for digital nomads. Love your speakers. Just visit ownitthesummit.com and get your hands on these life-changing recordings today. Client challenge of the week then. Let's talk about Cathie. Now, Cathie, let me read her specific thing, and she's very up for us talking about it on the podcast, so that's fine.
Look at all those windows you got open.
There's not that many. I've got a few chat things going.
Yes.
I'll close those down.
Lovely.
Right, okay, so Cathie says, in fact, she posted it to one of my online groups. Genuine newbie here. Have left my armbands at home, but haven't yet let go of the side. I'm determined, but a bit overwhelmed. Would really welcome a float if anyone's got one. So there's an entire paragraph just letting people know she's new.
Well, let's start there. What a nice woman she sounds.
Yes, and I like the I'm determined bit.
I like the all the allusions to swimming pools, armbands, and floats.
Okay.
Well, because it demonstrates she's got away with words, so she's got a skill. She's got a communication skill for starters.
Well spotted. Yeah, that hadn't occurred to me, but you're absolutely right. It does paint a good picture and makes a story. Have chosen my niche, got a website up, written 2 blog posts, written and formatted an ebook as a free gift, signed up with Get Response. What an action taker.
Yeah.
Doesn't know what she's doing. The interesting thing that really jumped out at me there was the written 2 blog posts, but we'll come back to that in a minute. It says, got no traffic, obviously. I liked the obviously because it means she's not unrealistic in expecting traffic to come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And choosing an affiliate product to promote is turning out to be the hardest thing in the world. And I suspect is pointless without traffic. I'd love to hear from anyone with any tips on what to do next. So she's outlined her issues for us. We'll come back to those in a minute. And then I went back to her and I said, got any further info, like which niche you in and what's your URL, etc. She said, I've chosen personal development, specifically taking control of thoughts and changing habits with a view to illustrating how it works on myself by starting and running a successful digital marketing business. So she's anyway, we'll come back to that. I don't have any experience other than what I'm doing to myself. Idea is to review and, where appropriate, promote products and illustrate with personal stories, etc. Want to have built my own products as soon as possible. Aim is to build a decent revenue stream through this business, so we'll have at least $1 million in the bank in 10 years' time and have had time to finish other passion projects. Okay, so what advice would you give? What jumps out at you from all those bits, and what advice would you give if that was someone coming to you?
Well, that person wouldn't come to me because they're trying to start an affiliate-based internet marketing business, about which I know almost nothing. I would begin with the bad news. The most interesting thing to me on that is where she said towards the end something about, and will give me time to complete my passion projects. My first question would be, what are they?
Yes.
Hello, tell me something you're passionate about, because actually what she's suggesting is I'm creating something expedient here which will make money so that I can have time to do my passion projects. I'd probably go, tell me about your passion projects, let's work on them instead. 1 million in the bank in 10 years, dream on. Not to say that we both don't know people in the world that have done that. We haven't done that, and we haven't coached anybody that's done that.
And also, having $1 million in the bank is pretty dangerous business, isn't it? I mean, don't you?
Well, I'm sure she doesn't mean that. $1 million in investments from the income I've created. I don't know anybody that's done that, Nicola. I'm not even sure. I tell you, when clients tell me they want to do that, or prospective clients tell me they want to do that, the only people I've ever met personally that have done that, apart from the celebs, are those chaps that wear blue jeans, grey jumpers, live with their mother. We've met them at internet marketing conferences. They never go out in daylight, and you can tell that by looking at them. And they are all suspiciously good at that. They're mechanics, they're left-hand side people. Cathie doesn't sound like a left-hand side person. She sounds like a supporter, star, creator, innocent archetype, whatever we call them these days. She's all round the middle, top corner, right-hand corner, down the left-hand side. She's like a hybrid being sister. I don't know what I would say. I would say, are you sure? Are you sure that's what you want, Cathie? Because something about these passion projects.
That's interesting, because I wouldn't have picked up on that at all, actually, which is great. That's why we're here, because, different...
Well, she's not my ideal client because she wants to build a business online. She's your ideal client, and I'm more interested in what you would say to her. As I said earlier, when you flagged this to me, I know nothing about this. I'll have to follow where you lead. So you go first.
Well, before I do, I wanted to just, this jumped out at me as being an interesting one for us to discuss, because you must get people coming to you saying, I want to start a business, but I've got no idea where to start. And she's obviously an action taker. She's proved that because she's got a website up, she's written a couple of blog posts, and she signed up for Get Response.
I don't think she has got no idea where to start. That's a start, isn't it?
Yeah,
she's
totally.
Yeah.
Done a lot more than most people. But I just thought this is an interesting one because, as I say, you must get people who come to you and say, I want to start a business, but I don't know.
No, not really. In that first call, I go straight to their passions, and then we see if we can make a business out of that. No, I don't get many people like that. Once it happened to you and I in a conference room, a woman called Uta put up her hand and said, I've got no ideas, what should I do? We all went, oh, you lucky thing, because we were all creators. I'd buy a franchise if I was one of those, and I suppose affiliate marketing is the online equivalent of that. It's flogging somebody else's stuff.
Yes, it is. And use, the best thing about I totally recommend everyone to become an affiliate and learn how to do affiliate marketing if they've got no idea what to do, because a lot of the affiliate products have already got sales pages up, they've already got, earnings per click proven, they've already got, success stories that they let you use and all that sort of thing.
I do quite like her idea, and we have taught people to do that before, I'm just going to write about my own journey, describe the things I've discovered, the things I've used, and recommend them. We've seen people do that. I don't think it puts $1 million in your bank in 10 years, but it is a good place to start, and you learn by doing.
And the thing that you do also while doing that is you build an audience. You build an audience of people who are following your journey, who perhaps are further back than you, aren't quite ready to make a start and want to see how it works for people.
In theory, you do. 10 years back, you could have done. You remember when they used to pick people at the internet marketing conferences to do that with? I'm not sure they do that anymore or would do that anymore because the space has become more crowded. But I'd like to know more about this woman, Cathie, really. But then I always do.
She's she's going to be listening to this episode because I've told her that we're going to be discussing it today.
Okay.
The thing that I really believe that still works. I believe that if you write a daily, twice weekly, 3 times a week blog about your journey to try and discover how to do this stuff and the things you try and what works and what doesn't and how you feel about it. And if you share those blog posts on Twitter, Facebook, social media, Instagram, make a meme on Instagram, I know you'll make an audience. I know you will. And so she could do that. What I found most interesting was that she said, I've written 2 blog posts, and then she went on to talk about traffic. And she was realistically saying, obviously I haven't got any traffic yet, but she was also not realising that the way to get traffic is to carry on blogging and sharing that on social media. So I don't know, there's a little disconnect there between the kind of work she's done and why she stopped. So I think she's thinking that there's some, she doesn't have to keep going. There's some magic wand somewhere that will bring traffic to her magically. Well, there is. It's called Facebook, and you have to pay for it.
Yeah, and people often say to me, I don't understand who I'm. How people will understand I'm blogging. Well, they understand you're blogging the minute you press the word publish, because it shakes the web and draws attention. But yeah, you've got to get 100 up plus, really.
What was your blog post that you wrote about that recently? Because you wrote about it really.
Well, people ask me this question all the time about newsletters and blogs. I love this question, actually. And I was dealing with a client who had a very similar issue. Got 4 blog posts up, I think. Why am I blogging? Who's reading my blog? I've written 2 blog posts. Well, write some more. Write 100. When you said, actually, if I was Cathie and this was my full-time thing, is it her full-time thing?
I don't know that.
I'd write a blog post every day, because in order to be of any interest to any search engine, you've got to have plenty of content on there.
Yeah, 100 was the number I was going to tell her.
Yeah, get 100 up and check that with me.
Yeah. Let us know how much traffic you're getting then.
Yeah.
If you sit in front of your computer and you think, I don't know what to write about the fact that you don't know what to write.
Well, she didn't say that. She didn't say she didn't know what to write. She was asking quite a joined up question. If she can write 2, she can write 200. I think the question really is, how do I get traffic, isn't it? And blogging, of course, is part of that. Facebook ads might be another.
Sharing your blog posts on social media, like that brings traffic, and you don't even need to worry about who your audience is at this stage. You just start, and you will attract the audience, and the most lively respondents in your audience will make themselves known after a while. I
think that if Cathie is doing this because she thinks it will create enough money for her eventually to be able to focus on her passion projects, it won't last long. Sorry. Because if you go back to the days when we all tried this, and it was all about knitting and hiking and all sorts of things where we discovered niches and blah, 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 we just give up because creative people want to work on their own projects, not flogging other people's stuff.
Yeah, and also, if you're not really deeply passionate about something, it's impossible to keep creating content. So you need to. If you want to make an internet marketing business, you need to be passionate about internet marketing and sharing that. A bit like, I tell you what we should do: send Cathie to, and you can give it to her with my compliments, the interview we did with Jo Barnes. Yeah,
because that's what her business model is, and you hear the story of how she wrote and wrote and wrote for a year or three and then launched something from her mother's living room in Bracklesham Bay. And the audience were begging for her to sell them something before she was ready to do that. And the rest is history. And she's only about 5 years into it and actually will have $1 million in the bank at the end of 10 years.
Yeah.
And there's a nice business model for Cathie to be modelling.
Yeah. And the good news is you don't have to think of $1 million in the bank as being your end game. Just getting, 10K a month from your business would be a six-figure income. So the minute you hit 10K a month, you're there. You're there at the six-figure income. The minute you hit 80 grand a month, you've got a 1 million a year business. Not just having 1 million in the bank as an end game. You've got. Do you remember that day when Claire Westwood, the happy nurse, we worked out with her that all she needed was 16,666 nurses giving her a £5 a month.
But she's giving it up to go for a passion project.
Yeah. I know, but my point
is... those numbers, Nicola, they're completely unrealistic. Who do you know who makes $10,000 a month online that isn't a celeb?
Lots of people who've got membership sites.
Yeah, but they're leaders in this field, and Cathie's just starting out. It's unfair to hold out these big figures. If she makes $10,000 a month, she'll get that $1 million in the bank, no trouble. $80,000 a month, madness.
Yeah, that is startup software.
Madness. Yeah, madness.
Yeah, there are lots of people. I listen to quite a few podcasts in the startups.
They're celebs, that's what I'm saying. They're celebs. They're not ordinary people. And I'm not saying that you, me, and Cathie are ordinary. We're extraordinary. But, we don't know anybody that makes 10K a month who isn't a celeb in this field. And everybody we do know gets discouraged by flogging other people's stuff long before 10K a month. That's why Cathie's given us so many clues. Now, if she's prepared to put herself through that for 12 months, she will get a grounding in online marketing that will do her passion projects for a world of good.
Yeah, because she'll be able to launch one of those and they'll fly.
Absolutely.
I've got to say, I do totally and utterly 100 million% disagree that we don't know people who earn more than 10 grand a month.
Not ordinary people like you or me or Cathie, we don't.
The reason those people, and there's lots of them, get there is because A, they stay focused, and B, they pay for traffic. Because there is
or they have a team.
Yeah, well, they don't have a team in the early days.
They have a team, or they have they are one of those blokes in the blue jeans and the grey jumpers who never see daylight and live with their mum. Overheads are low, and well, actually, James Schramko also describes it in his interview, where he said it took him 3 years to sell something worth $45 or something. Several people described it on our interview series, and they have gone on to leverage it over a period of time. But we picked the leaders in these fields to discuss this with. Now, if somebody like that can do it, then anybody can do it. I quite agree. But we don't know anybody personally that's done it, and we haven't coached anybody personally to do it. I know this is something that's a bone of contention between us, and it always has been. And it goes back to Marion calling the internet marketing the emperor's new clothes. I never regret having learned how to market my business online, and neither will Cathie. But she's given us so many hints about what she's more interested in.
I do personally know a lot of people, Judith, that make...
Yeah, but you move in those circles, Nicola, and they're the celebrities in internet marketing.
No, they're the people who are prepared to pay for traffic, or who've got the money and the skills to pay for
it. Who are they? Name me 2 or 3.
Well, okay, so there's Wendy and Blair, who own numerology.com, who are not celebs in any way. They don't do a podcast, they haven't got any books, they've just got a great domain name, and they built that domain name and the traffic, and they put content on their website, and now they pay for Facebook ads, and they turn that Facebook ads into conversion.
And how long have they been doing that?
I don't know, about 4 or 5 years.
Okay, so they've got a great niche, I agree. And we were surprised to discover how the woo-woo areas are great niches. What's Cathie's intended niche? We don't know that yet. She's struggling to find this product, isn't she? So she's coming at it from an academic perspective, which is if I find a great product, I can, drive traffic to it.
She wants to be in the personal development niche, but she also wants to be in internet marketing niche. So she's got to decide between those two for a start, because they're very different.
Well, you came back memorably from some IM conference overseas, America, I think it was.
Yeah.
And had met all these people in the woo-woo space and said it's so much better to be in the, let's not call it woo-woo, let's call it
personal development.
No, it's beyond that. It's beyond that. Numerology is not personal development.
Well, it sort of is, because people are looking to improve their lives from numerology.
Yeah, but not themselves. Personal development is about improving yourself. Numerology is one of those oracle
stuff.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and what you were amazed by, and so am I. And actually, it goes to this point that I keep bringing up every week about what people want, not what they need. Personal development and business advice and internet marketing is what people need. Will they buy it? No. Will they implement it? No. They will buy from numerology and The Secret and angel readings and blah, blah, blah. So if you're looking for a product on ClickBank, my advice would be to err on that side, especially if you've got a spooky interest yourself, Cathie.
Yeah. So, okay, so she's saying what she wants to write about is her doing it every day, and how she feels and how she does it. So, yes, by all means do that. And ditto, have a category on your website about, internet marketing, or how that business is building. And she said she was having trouble finding affiliate products. It sounds like she's already written her own giveaway, which is great. So now she needs traffic to that giveaway, and she's got 2 options. She can either blog for it or she can pay for it. And blogging for it is slower, but cheaper, obviously, except it just takes your time. So if you've got plenty of time, that's fine. But yeah, as Judith says, look to getting to 100 blogs. I mean, Jenny Hott, do you remember the interview I did with Jenny Hott, who is $1 million a year blogger? And she just locked herself away for a year and created vast amounts of content for her website, which is all about health, actually. And she really swiftly got very successful. But she's really under the radar. Nobody's ever heard of her. You couldn't describe her as a celebrity at all. She's only ever done one speaking gig, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, celebrity is the wrong word. I don't mean famous. I mean high achieving in their niche. Now, let's go back to blogging. Even if she pays for traffic, she's got to do that anyway.
Yes, you have, because if you're paying for traffic, you need a website. And
exactly. Yeah. Blog anyway, even if you're paying for traffic.
Yeah. Okay, so make a decision about that you're going to do it and how you're going to do it, and then just get cracking and just crank out the content. And
I'm not suggesting we announce it on here, but have you got Cathie's URL?
I haven't yet, no, but I can get it.
It'd be nice to know what her giveaway's about, to see if there's any clue in that.
Yeah, that's right. And the other thing, I'm really, because I don't know if you know, but I've killed Clicks and Leads and Wheelhouse. I've just redirected the websites.
You said, yes, you said that last week, I think, yeah.
And that's all in an effort to focus, because that's the other thing Cathie needs is focus. And she needs to just put her head down and get on with one thing for the next year relentlessly. And that's the other thing that a lot of people, including myself, have struggled with, which is focus. Because people, as you always say, it takes people a year or so to catch up with what you're doing. Yeah. And unless you keep doing the same thing, you don't give people a chance to find you, work out what you're all about, and then get around to the point where they think you can help them.
I think time is an issue here. Can Cathie find the time to blog every day, but the expectation. So I spoke to a woman this morning who I don't speak to very often. She dialed into my group call, and she said, when I spoke to you best part of 3 years ago, one of your earlier questions to me was, what's your first monthly target that you want to achieve? And she said, and I achieved that about a year ago in year 2. So, and I never let people pick the target they want. I pick them, and if you had that much coming in, it would pay your bills, you'd be in financial security. And usually these days people say about 2,000. So that woman took 2 years, and she's quite a high achiever, to get into financial integrity, to get her bills paid from her business. Know how long it takes, I suppose, and that's the other thing, isn't it? It's managing people's expectations about. I mean, your concept of locking yourself away for a year. I mean, how many people do you know that could even do that?
I know. Well, and that's one of the reasons I've locked myself away in Greece for 6 months, because I want to stay focused and get something.
Well, Jenny Hott deserves everything she's achieved, because if she could lock herself away for a year and just create content without having an eye on income, then all hail, because that in itself separates her from the rest of us.
I think she moved, it's a fascinating story actually. It's on businesssuccessfactory.com if you want to go and listen to that. Jenny Hott with the 2 T's.
I'll link to it.
Yeah, and she basically was doing a bit of PR work there. She moved to South America and doing a little bit of PR work for someone down there, but the rest of the time she relentlessly focused on creating content for a website. The interesting thing I found about Jenny's story was that she didn't have any doubts that it wouldn't work. She didn't have any, well, she must have done, because the only humans do, but she didn't let it divert her from her goal, which was to create $1 million a year blog. And she's been recognised by Google as being one of the top bloggers in the world. So it's not like it's empty numbers here. She genuinely has done that. But Cathie said, what next? Choosing affiliate products is not the issue, Cathie, because your affiliate products will be the things that you use yourself. I mean, for example, I only recommend things like WP Engine for hosting, lead pages for captures, opt-ins. I reckon I make a lot of money from recommending people to an affiliate marketer I know, who is the best person, I think, to teach people affiliate marketing. So you end up, recommending products and services you use yourself and that are good. So choosing an affiliate product's not an issue at all. Your what next question should be, just get on with what you're doing, more of the same, and just keep at it.
And consider paying for traffic, I guess.
Well, if she's got any kind of budget at all, that speeds the process up dramatically. But only if you know what you're doing. So you have to invest in a bit of training. But there's a free Facebook ads course by Lead Pages. So I'd go and check that out first, and do a few searches for Facebook gurus and see what you can learn. Just subscribe to John Luma's website. He doesn't teach strategy, but he does teach tactics on how to use Power Editor and things like that. Okay, anything else for Cathie in summary?
Yes, join our Own It the podcast group and answer some of our questions. What are your passion projects? What's your giveaway about?
Yes, that'd be good, because I also now want to know what the passion projects are. Much more interesting to blog about that, probably.
That might be, and tie it all in. Yes,
exactly.
They don't need to be separate.
No, they don't.
And we don't need to do this thing where we go around the houses so we can afford to do the thing we really want to do. We can go straight to the thing we really want to do.
Yeah, brilliant advice. Well done. Okay, project updates then.
No, word of the week first.
Oh, yeah, so it is.
Have you got one?
I have. It's delight. Because I'm delighting in lots of little things. I'm delighting in spotting very neat wood piles around the village and taking pictures of those.
I see that pallets of kindling have arrived.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yes.
Where the hell were they when we needed them 2 weeks
exactly,
ago?
when we were buying gift bags of twigs for €1.50.
No wonder Katerina can afford to give you a loyalty card. You've introduced the concept of kindling to the village.
Exactly. We went to lunch at Melissa's, a new taverna, the other day, and he came out and he brought the most beautifully ironed and laundered tablecloth and spread it out. It was so beautiful. I went, oh, that's lovely.
Well, that is nice, yes. You're delighting in a freshly ironed and laundered tablecloth.
Yeah, Katerina's never fails to delight, and the weather is delighting at the moment because it is really gorgeous and has been for about a week or so. So every time we sit at the little cafe down the bottom of the road, we think, oh my God, this is so good. So, delight. What's yours?
Clarity, specifically for my clients who take on a new client. Get a clear brief from your client before you begin any project.
Oh, okay. So you're teaching your clients how to be more get more clarity with their clients.
Well, because they sometimes say things to me like, "I think she wants." What do you think she wants? What does she want? Don't make assumptions about what people want. Get a clear brief.
And if you're not sure, ask.
Yes.
Then get them to sign something.
Yes.
So there's no confusion whatsoever.
Clarity. It came home to me a couple of times this week that we can't do anything well if we're foggy about it.
Yeah, brilliant. And okay, project updates then.
Well, it's all about the podcast in this section now, isn't it? Have you got anything to tell us exciting?
Yes, I've been creating memes for what we've got a Instagram podcast account, and that does very well. Phoebe keeps that up to date. Every week she goes and she spreads a new podcast, and she also goes and chooses an old one and puts that on there as well. And we get lots of likes. And then I've started creating memes out of the pictures from each episode.
Nice.
With the episode number and the topic of the client challenge of the week on it.
Very good.
The client challenge is the thing that informs the picture. And so, I've started creating memes, sharing them on Instagram. And I've also been taking some of the description, because I've heard that on Instagram, a longer description on your picture can reap dividends. So I've started taking some of the description and putting it in with the URL of where to listen or read more at the bottom. Too early to report results yet, but how we'll know if it's working is that traffic from Instagram presumably will. I've just realised the setback on that one. It's okay. They'll have to copy and paste the URL, so it won't show as being traffic from Instagram. So I might have to swap it to sending them to the Instagram account for Own It, the podcast, and then there's a link through to the website from there, but it won't take them to the right. Instagram, so difficult, I can't tell you. Yes, so there you go. I'm going to have to figure this one out, but I'm pretty sure that it's getting lots of likes, so on both counts, so it can't really help.
Well, it can't do any harm, can it?
No. Exactly.
And you're having a lovely time.
Well, it's giving me something to share on my own Instagram account, which I wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah.
There's so many pictures of wood piles you can put on.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
And kindling and twigs, all beautifully arranged in neat piles.
And pine cones, which the next door neighbour came round to offer you in a bucket.
Oh, lovely. I just opened the door and there was a bag of pine cones.
I mean, who has got time to collect pine cones and then take them around and offer them to their neighbours?
Well,
Extraordinary. It's a different reality, that's what it is.
Well, it's a lot of people who are retired out here. And
yes, it's a desperate supporter who wants to talk to another human being, isn't
it? Possibly.
I would no more dream of knocking on somebody's door with a bucket load of anything. But I think it's very sweet. Very sweet. And also it threw up a question, which was, they don't burn in stoves, but they burn in fires. Oh, that doesn't make any sense at all, does it? No,
they don't burn in closed wood stoves, apparently.
That's what I'm saying. They don't burn in those, but they do burn in yours. You'd think fire was fire, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, apparently there's different types of fires.
Oh, we're learning.
I will be an expert,
Yes.
I'll go on the island and get that fire cracking.
I'm very worried about the proximity of the curtains where you live to the fireplace with you two in charge of it. Be careful. I don't want it to go woof, up in smoke, up in flames one day.
You have got a point. It's very funny. It's you're right. They are a little bit close to the. They are actually.
It's an extraordinary thing to have your fireplace in the corner of the room like that, isn't it? Right up against the window.
I know, but there's a lot of extraordinary things about Greek buildings, mainly the fact that they don't use an architect. They use an engineer to approve that it's structurally sound, but after that, the design is down to the builder.
Well, bless all architects, because I've lived in a couple of flats in Canary Wharf which were architect designed, and that wasn't a guarantee of any better use of space at all, I'm sad to reflect.
Yeah, well, also the person who designed this house is Elias, the taverna owner. So.
Oh yes, can't complain too much then.
He does. He's very inventive, shall we say, when it comes to space saving. I can say no more in public, I'm afraid. Moving on to, actually, this leads us nicely into who or what's impressed.
Okay, do you want to go first?
Yeah, go on then. I mean, the thing is, it's about Greek ingenuity and efficiency. And because, the whole thing about the Katerina supermarket having the post box in it, except it wasn't, it was a telephone box, which is upsetting some people. Sorry, the nearest post office is in the next village, which is about a 20-minute drive away. Quite a long way on the bus. No, it probably wouldn't take that long. Now I think about it, it's only 2 buses a day, so it's a bit of a mission to get post sent off again. So the fact that Katerina's has stepped in and filled this gap, and she said, the lady behind the counter, whose name I haven't got yet, I said, what about posting stuff back? She said, oh, well, if you go to the post office and get your letters weighed, and then you know how much it weighs, then you can come back and I can sell you the stamps in future. And then Bella, who turned up, who's our neighbour, who is incredibly helpful, and she said, oh, it's okay, if you've got a scale, you can weigh your letter, and down at Katerina's they've got a little chart, so she'll know how many stamps, and then you just put it in that out tray in the telephone box.
Well, that's precisely how I do it here. I have a scale and I stick the stamps on before I stick it in the box.
Yeah, but the thing that impressed me about it all is how efficient they are here. You think of it as being a really rural country with lots of problems, but actually the local people have figured out a thing for everything. They really have. If there's anything you need, there's a way to get it. If there's any way you want to go, there's a way to go there. If there's any help you need, there'll be someone. For example, if I wanted to borrow a stepladder, I just have to go down to Bungalow Bill down the bottom there and it'll let me.
Well, the Greeks, it must be remembered, are an ancient philosophical peoples of thinking who've been solving problems for millennia. So I'm not surprised to hear this about them. It's in their DNA.
Yeah, from Aristotle forwards.
Right.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's obviously they're just really clever people, and even though they struggled under a lot of being a backward country and then having lots of problems, normal life is extremely efficient and it's very helpful and friendly. There's always someone who will help or know someone who can.
Yeah, I was taking the mickey slightly out of the man with the bucket load of pine cones, but actually that's part of that ethos as well.
Yeah, exactly. He wanted to get rid of the pine cones. The pine cones came from a pine tree that fell down. And how many pine cones did they were in there? 5,000. 5,000 pine cones out of one tree, apparently. And
technically, here's an urban question for you. What's a pine cone? Is that a seed from which another pine tree could grow?
Yes.
Oh, it's exciting, isn't it?
Oh, no.
So each tree has 5,000 babies.
Well, it was a very big one.
Yeah.
Very big tree, this one.
It fell down.
But yeah, nice that the tree got distributed and the pine cones got given out to people who put them in their fire.
So you don't feel inclined to take half a dozen, spray them silver and put them on your mantelpiece for Christmas then, Nicola?
That's a very good idea. I'm sure Katerina's got silver spray paint.
Right.
They've got their deckies up already. So.
Well, there you go.
Tell us what's impressed you then.
The Merrymakers app.
Oh, isn't it lovely?
The Merrys, who we interviewed on our summit as well, launched their app recently called Get Merry. Quick and easy healthy recipes. And they went straight in on Monday at number 1 for the entire Australian app store, because they are a couple of Aussies. Awesome. And then it settled, I think, at number 3. And actually what was impressive was their delight at that. There you go, back to your word of the week. They were chuffed as anything that their app had, launched so well. And I was just happy for them.
There was a lovely meme they used to describe the whole process, which was something along the lines of dream it, then real life it.
Yes, I saw it. It's lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah, very nice. I liked it a lot. They are such irrepressible girls, and they spend all their time being grateful and happy, but working on it,
Well, and that's another business model for Cathie to have a look at. Cathie, have a look at the Merrymaker sisters, a couple of Australian girls in their 20s. and that's a reason for their online success, is their energy, their attitude, their humour, their fun, their Instagram account.
Oh, yeah.
Have a look at them as a model for how to make money online.
Yeah, and also their honesty, because they've both written quite searingly honest posts recently about, things they've had to overcome to become that happy, grateful and successful.
I didn't see. Can you quickly look at the App Store? How much does their app retail for? Because
49 or
so
something.
there's another way of making money, Cathie. An app.
Yes, if you're ready to learn how to make apps or invest in someone who will make it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, that was good fun, wasn't it?
Yes.
We've delighted ourselves.
We have. And you've got a nice green picture. I know you don't like the green ones. You've got a nice green picture on your Chrome today with a waterfall, and a waterfall is a sign of wealth and abundance.
Is it? And of course it is. You've got a picture. It's Thailand, that is.
Yeah.
Can't read where it is, but it looks like Thailand. It's quite a nice one because it's got sunlight coming through it. I just don't like the green ones where it's cold and dreary and wet looking.
What does it say? They're empty your cup so that it may be filled. What does it say after that?
Become devoid to gain totality.
Totality. Oh, very zen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Become empty in order to be filled up. Yeah. Okay. Good. Lovely. See you next week then.
Okay.
All right. Bye for now.
You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. The podcast is called Own It, Your Business and Your Life. Do come and visit us at ownitthepodcast.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can find out more about Judith and visit her on her website at judithmorgan.com, and you can find Nicola at nicolacairncross.com.